Can Dish
Oh yeah.
raise more cash? What do you think about this one?
Yeah, we talked about this one. It's going to be interesting. Some of their debt, sorry, some of their spectrum is, debt companies own that spectrum now because they basically were like, here, I'm going to give you this in collateral for what I need. This is so crazy, dude. But, 2025 Q4 is literally the last quarter they have with cash.
There's two schools of thought. With the spectrum repositioning, and I guess some of the layoffs, they've made some movements that give them some flexibility financially. Here's some commentary from financial analysts at debt research firm Credit Sites and Covenant Review. Quote, we think much of the trust in Charlie Ergen has been lost. Moose, do you agree with that?
I mean, what trust did they have in the past?
I don't know. I didn't have any.
God. I mean, I
didn't
want to
have
hear.
any,
Okay,
but
so what do you guys think about this? Because I have my own. I want to save it to the last, but I really want to know what you guys think about this.
I didn't have any trust in Charlie from day one. I mean, it's only gotten worse with time. He's basically had to resort to some pretty extreme things. Merge with his own companies, right, to try to create financial flexibility. This other quote from New Street Research, quote, we believe Dish could raise more spectrum-backed debt at reasonable yields now, maybe because of the rates dropping over the next several months. B, jump in.
No, they can't.
You disagree with the statement?
I mean, I'm just answering the question of the article. Can they raise more funds? The answer is no. I mean, I don't see a pathway forward for that company. I really don't. And it's very unfortunate. I feel for the employees and everything there. I'm sure they're doing the best that they can, but they just don't have the assets. They don't have the assets. They never did. It was always going to be a shadow company that was thrown together in order to allow regulators to push the T-Mobile merger through. It never should have been allowed to happen. It was a bad idea on the part of the government for allowing it to happen. They're going to have egg on their face because we're going to end up with 3 MNOs going forward. I mean, I don't see. I mean, unless something changes, how is this going to continue to operate? They don't have the cash flow. They don't have the customer base.
According to Ergen, one thing is clear about where Dish will be getting funding. Quote, we don't think that selling the spectrum is the right answer. A lot of people have speculated that they should sell some assets, which their assets is their spectrum. They have 600 megahertz frequencies, or 600 and 700 for the low band. The 600 is more like their national play. The 700 is situational in some markets. They are going to buy the 800 megahertz from T-Mobile at some point. Now, if they can raise some capital, they could do that, right? Potentially with this move. They have AWS in a few different forms. They've got the 1700, 2100, and I think they've got it in blocks H, AWS 3 and AWS 4. They also have some DoD. They have some CBRS. They own some millimeter wave. They also have some frequencies through satellite, right? Some millimeter wave stuff. So I don't know. They do. It's an accurate statement. It is accurate to say they have assets in spectrum. But if they're putting debt on those assets, that means somebody can take it from them if they can't meet the financial responsibilities of it. Isn't that right, Moose?
Yep. And by the way, their bond is worthless right now, right? So, I mean, basically, if you buy into that bond, it's worse than a penny stock,
There's people that are heavily invested in Dish, bro, waiting for this thing to turn into something. Is this thing going to turn into a prince, or is it going to stay a frog, EM?
You know the answer to that. Staying a frog, dude. They're going to get sold off and scrapped to the highest bidder.
Ribbit.
I don't know. I guess now it's more about time frame, don't you think?
Yeah, like I want to be positive when we talk about Dish, but It's really getting hard to.
But every week there's a story about some kind of move. Like it's always this like some development twist and turn to the Dish story. There's always life. Like we report something negative, something bad, like major setback, and then Charlie pulls a rabbit out of the hat and does something else to keep him viable for another 6 months, year, 2 years. Like this now pushes Dish's survivability through 2025. People were speculating that they were going to run out of money at the end of 24. Moose, you were one of them. So now
It
this
still
gives them
could
an
happen.
additional year on your time frame, right?
It still could happen, right?
No, I'm just talking about the time frame. I'm not saying that
Right.
it's going to be a different outcome. I'm just saying
Right.
it buys them more time, right?
Right. But I think the biggest thing, and I have very strong opinions about Dish, I honestly feel like they're wasting all of our time. You know, they somehow are being forced to become this fourth carrier. The only thing that I think hasn't been triggered is a bailout directly from the government.
You think that's a possibility?
It's definitely possible.
Mm.
They better not.
It's going to have to come from the DOJ, though. It's not going to come from the FCC. It can't. And it's not going to be funded by the other carriers. And you know T-Mobile doesn't want any parts of that, bro. Why would they want to keep them alive longer? I mean, they've had their freaking knee on their neck for 3.5 years.
Well, I'm telling you, it's going to either come down to a bailout, or you're going to have a very interesting situation where you're going to have to sell off these assets.
Then sell them off. Sell them off.
Right.
Then I mean,
right. But who wants to buy them? See, the thing is that they're going to have to go for like 90% reduction.
Yeah, somebody will buy it.
Oh, I can tell you this. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to want a piece of it, but not all of it.
Yeah. Because all the spectrum that they have isn't necessarily cream of the crop type spectrum. I mean, I'm sure T-Mobile's going to want some of that 600, max, low band. Maybe Verizon will get some of the 700. I mean, but Verizon's got the C block of 700, I believe, and it's contiguous across the country, whereas Dish has it only in certain areas. I'm not even sure if it's the C block. I'm not sure. So I mean,
it's
they have N29, that supplemental
it's the
downlink.
stuff that AT&T has.
Supplemental down, so it's not going to be downlink and uplink.
Not paired, no.
Oh Jesus! So it's like it's like CBRS grade 700. I mean, I don't know, man. I just
and I'm pretty sure it's only 6 megahertz too. It's really not that much.
Oh Jesus! Come on. I mean,
part of that's probably guard band too.
Yeah, it does butt up against what Verizon holds in 700, but then they would have to get band 13 like rebanded and everything, and I don't think that's even on the table. So
yeah, it's not even worth the cost if they have to do all of that. I mean, I don't know, man. This is in trouble, and they have been in for a long time. And again, I'm gonna be that guy. I've been very consistent on this topic. I'm gonna blame the government. I'm gonna blame T-Mobile. Like T-Mobile never intended for Dish to be successful. They only wanted Dish to become a fourth carrier so that the merger could go through. And they've proven that with their actions, not necessarily their words, but definitely with their actions. They have done everything possible to obstruct Dish's ability to compete. And here we are. They've been able to get away with murder for such a long time. And I'm just baffled. It is what it is. I'm baffled.
Super chat from Southwest Ohio speed testing. Big salute to you. Thank you, man. Dish has one good thing, and that's the free iPhone and Galaxy with no trade-in on Infinite. I agree. That's a great promotion. Consumer friendly, but definitely profits ain't there. Should be spiking their net ads, but we haven't really seen that manifest itself throughout the year. We'll see what the Q4 numbers show. I don't think they'll be great. But he also said that he has more faith in US Cellular than Dish. They do nothing right.
US Cellular's on the chopping block too.
Yeah, but it's a USL ain't much better. I mean, the only
I think he's
company
making a statement though, saying how dire it is at Dish.
Yeah, the only company that celebrates net ads that aren't profitable as T-Mobile. They're the only ones to get their rocks off on that. I mean, everybody else is like, I mean, whoop-de-doo. So that promotion was doomed from the start. You're not going to make any money charging that, and you're going to give them a phone too. I mean, you're not trying to be profitable. That's a white. You're waving a white flag. You're asking for help.
Tech guy makes a good point. Sounds like Sprint with all the free stuff and heavy discounts. It does. $25 a month unlimited, right there.
Or the old version of T-Mobile. Yeah, when you're the up and comer, when you're in this position of weakness, you scrap and claw and do anything to try to get business.
They haven't seen any sort of traction in anything that they've tried to promote.
Nothing.
So,
and I still to this day can't understand how they have not tried to break into fixed wireless access. I mean, you couldn't execute a gateway partnership, a vendor, find a solid, dependable firmware, keep updates coming, like just like an address qualifies. They're within a mile of a native Dish site. Like, come on.
I mean, let's be real. They don't have the spectrum.
Yeah, but if you've got 3 frequency bands on air, there's tower sites. We're seeing 900 megabits per second on Dish. Like, you're telling me you can't monetize that within a mile of the site to an address? That means they got a 10 gig fiber circuit. They got 3 channels of NR. They can't monetize that, EM?
It's a fair question.
That's a fair question. Yeah.
I don't think they're paying for
within 1 mile of the site, you can connect to all those frequencies, right? So it's worth a shot.
But I don't think they're paying for a 10 gig.
Then how the hell are they getting the 900 megabits downlink?
You can do that with a 5 or a 2 or a 1.
No customers.
That's true.
Yeah, if you got an empty cell site, you're the only person connecting to it. You can max out that capacity pretty easily with one device.
Yeah, 500 megabyte, a 500 meg backhaul, you can get 900 megs down. There's nobody else on the site.